Welcome to Cupid's Corner, where love stories come alive. Sit back, relax, and let the tales of romance sweep you off your feet.
The Scared Circle. The sun hung low over the rolling plains of the Dakotas, casting a golden hue across the vast landscape. James Carter squinted against the light, adjusting his leather satchel as he stepped off the worn path. His task was clear: map the land for the incoming railroad. But as he walked, the wind whispered secrets of the terrain, drawing him deeper into a world beyond his mission. "Damn it," he muttered, stumbling over a gnarled root. The land was wild and untamed, but it was also breathtaking. He paused to catch his breath, glancing at the horizon where the sky met the earth in a cascade of colors. "This is going to be harder than I thought." As he continued, the sound of a soft chant floated through the air, pulling him toward the source. Intrigued, he followed the sound until he reached a clearing surrounded by tall grasses swaying gently in the breeze. There, in the center, stood a woman with long, dark hair cascading over her shoulders like a waterfall. She wore a simple dress adorned with beads, her arms raised toward the sky. "Wakanda," he breathed, recognizing her from the stories he had heard. She was a medicine woman, revered by her people. Her voice wove through the air a melodic hum that resonated with the earth itself. Suddenly, she stopped and turned to face him, her deep brown eyes piercing through the distance. "You should not be here, James Carter." He stammered, taken aback. "I didn't mean to intrude. I heard you singing." "It is a sacred time," she replied, her tone firm yet not unkind. "You disrupt the spirits with your presence." James felt a pang of regret. "I'm sorry. I'm just mapping the land for the railroad. I didn't expect to find anyone here." "The railroad?" Her brow furrowed, a mixture of concern and anger flickering across her features. "You come to take what is not yours." "I'm just doing my job," he defended, though the words tasted bitter on his tongue. "I didn't choose this." Wakanda stepped closer. "But you choose how you act upon it. You could leave and allow us to keep our land." His heart raced. "And what if I don't?" "Then you will bring ruin," she warned, the weight of her words settling heavily between them. "Ruin is already coming," he said, looking out at the horizon as if it held the answers. "But I can help." "I can help," she scoffed, folding her arms. "You think a map will stop the destruction?" Before he could respond, she turned away, returning to her ritual. The air thickened with tension, and James felt a strange pull, an urge to understand her world, not just his own. He watched as she resumed her chanting, the sound wrapping around him, pulling at his heart. Days passed, each one filled with the weight of his conflicting duties. He returned to the clearing whenever he could, drawn to the mystique of Wakanda and her rituals. Their conversations became deeper, filled with laughter and unspoken longing. "Why do you keep coming back?" Wakanda asked one evening, her voice softer than the breeze. "I want to know you, know your people," James replied, his gaze locked onto hers. "You see visions in your dreams, right?" A flicker of surprise crossed her face. "You listen too closely." "I can't help it," he confessed. "You've opened something in me I didn't know was there." Wakanda tilted her head, studying him. "And what is that?" "Hope," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "Hope that maybe there's a way to reconcile our worlds." She moved closer, the scent of sage and wildflowers enveloping him. "Your hope is dangerous. My people fear you, James. You are a harbinger of destruction." "I don't want to be," he murmured, reaching for her hand. "I want to be better. For you. For your people." Wakanda's breath caught. "It is forbidden, you know." "Then let's break the rules." He leaned in, their lips inches apart, the world around them fading. "I want you, Wakanda." Their lips met, a gentle brush that ignited a fire within him. She tasted of wildflowers and freedom, a sweet promise of all that could be. But as their kiss deepened, the sound of hoofbeats and distant shouts broke the moment. Wakanda pulled away, her eyes wide with fear. "You must go. They will come for you." "Who?" he asked, panic rising in his chest. "The soldiers," she said, urgency lacing her voice. "They seek to chase you away. You are a threat." "I won't leave you," he protested, feeling the ground shift beneath his feet. "You must," she insisted, pushing him toward the trees. "Go now, before it's too late." James hesitated, torn between his duty to his mission and his growing love for her. But the sound of shouting grew closer, spurring him into action. "I'll come back. I promise." "Promise means nothing without action," she cried, pushing him away. "You must choose your path, James." With a heavy heart, he turned and fled into the woods, the sounds of the soldiers echoing behind him. The brush of leaves against his skin felt like a betrayal, each step away from her a wound that cut deeper. As he reached the edge of the forest, he paused, breathless and torn. The soldiers were near, and he could hear their laughter, the sound of their horses snorting in the dusk. "Damn it," he cursed, his heart racing. Was he doing the right thing? "Carter," a voice called out, and he glanced back to see one of his fellow surveyors, a man named Thomas, waving him over. "Get over here. We're moving out." "Where?" James shouted back, glancing toward the direction he had left Wakanda. "Back to camp. The higher-ups want a report," Thomas replied, his brow furrowed in confusion. "What are you waiting for?" James hesitated, a fierce battle waging within him. He could follow his orders, report back to the government and ignore the warnings of ruin that echoed in Wakanda's voice. Or he could stand with her, risking everything for a chance at something real. With a deep breath, he turned. "I'm not going back." "What?" Thomas exclaimed, eyes wide. "Are you crazy? They'll court-martial you." "Maybe that's what I need," James shot back, his heart pounding. "I won't be part of this destruction." "James, think about this," Thomas pleaded, stepping closer. "You can't just throw your life away for some what? Some woman?" James interrupted, anger bubbling to the surface. "She's not just some woman. She's everything I never knew I needed." "Carter, you're making a mistake," Thomas yelled, frustration boiling over. "You have a duty." "And what about her duty?" James fired back. "What about her people?" Before Thomas could respond, the sound of hooves thundered closer, and the soldiers burst through the trees. "Carter," one of them shouted, raising a rifle. "You're under orders to return." With a sudden surge of adrenaline, James sprinted away from the clearing, his heart pounding in his chest. He ducked behind a cluster of bushes, panting heavily as he listened to the chaos behind him. Where did he go? He heard a soldier demand, their voices growing distant. James waited, fear coursing through him. He couldn't go back. Not now. Not when he had finally found something worth fighting for. As the soldiers moved further away, he glanced back toward the direction of Wakanda's ritual site, determination igniting within him. He would find her again. He would fight for her and her people, no matter the cost. Days turned into weeks, and the tension between the soldiers and the Lakota people escalated. James remained hidden, gathering what information he could, waiting for the right moment to reunite with Wakanda. He had learned to navigate the terrain, the whispers of the land guiding him as he honed his skills. Finally, the day came when he could no longer bear the distance. Under the cover of night, he slipped through the woods, his heart racing with anticipation and dread. He reached the clearing, breathless and hopeful. The moonlight bathed the area in a silvery glow, and he could see Wakanda standing near the fire, her silhouette framed by the flames. "Wakanda," he called, stepping into the light. She turned, her expression shifting from surprise to a mixture of relief and anger. "James, you shouldn't be here." "I had to see you," he insisted, stepping closer. "I couldn't stay away." Wakanda took a deep breath, weighing her options. "If you stand with me, it will not be easy. But if you choose this path, you must be ready for the consequences." "I'm ready," he affirmed, determination flooding his veins. "I'll follow you wherever this leads." In that moment, she stepped forward, a fierce light igniting in her eyes. "Then we fight together." As dawn broke over the plains, James and Wakanda, side by side, prepared for the battle they knew was coming. Their love had become a symbol of resistance, a defiance against the forces that sought to tear them apart. The sounds of hoofbeats echoed in the distance, and the soldiers' shouts filled the air, but together, they stood strong, united by a bond that transcended their worlds. "Ready?" she asked, her voice steady. "Always," he replied, his heart swelling with love and determination. As the sun rose, illuminating the path ahead, they faced the challenges together, ready to carve their own destiny in the face of adversity. No longer just a surveyor or a medicine woman, they were warriors of love, standing against the odds in a world that sought to divide them. And as they charged into the fray, they knew they would find a way to be together, no matter the cost. The end.
Thank you for listening. Let's spread the love. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because everyone deserves a bit of romance.